cannot be scared to take any chances and assume what will happen before you even take any chances. We always say what could be and what can't be, but we always talk about the negativity more than the positivity. All of our energy goes into our problems, but not our solutions.
Welcome to the Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast, starring Q the Boss.
Yo. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Let That Go Over Your Head podcast. They call me Q the Boss. Yes. Listen, guys, we telling the truth today, man. Today is, can you teach an old dog new tricks? And there's a reason why I'm actually talking about this particular topic today. There's a lot of people that we meet in life that we want to help. But I've noticed that they don't want to learn anything new. They get so content and set in their ways, right? So I'm asking you guys, from a person that's really concerned, can you teach an old dog new tricks, right? So many people are content, they're set in their ways. They can't see that they're actually preventing themselves from getting to the next levels. They're in their own way. And it's the truth. So I'm asking anybody on my live today, answer the question, can you teach an old dog new tricks? There are a lot of people set, and I'm gonna go into a scenario. There are times where I put myself at a deficit trying to help others, whether it's economically, whether it's mentally, a lot of different ways. But sometimes I've noticed that the people I try to help the most, they tend to devalue me the most because they get so comfortable with me always looking out for them, so they don't see it as a positive, right? They see it as you're supposed to. They become entitled, right? And I'm talking about grown-ups we talking about here. We're not talking about children. We're talking about grown people where you're trying to help, but yet and still they believe that you're supposed to do it for them. So I'm asking people on my live today, right? Can you teach an old dog new tricks, right? And I just want you to understand, it's like a lot of the times the premise is wrong. A lot of people are content, they're set in their ways. You got to be able to look at yourself and get out your own way. A lot of people are all in their own feelings about a harsh reality, right? I'm going to give you a story. So the other day I was having a conversation with a particular guy, and this is me telling the truth. He's very content in a bad situation. So one day he called me and said, yo, I need you to come over my house because I'm not feeling you because you're doing better, but yet and still you don't want to help me, right? So I go to his house and I pull up. So I said to him, let me ask you a question. He said, what? I said, if you really want to change, you got to make yourself very uncomfortable to hear this conversation. He said, nah, I really want to hear the conversation. I said, all right, no problem. So I said, I'm going to tell you the things you need to do to help fix yourself. He said, how do you know? I said, because I'm on the outside looking at you. Sometimes it's hard for us to take ourselves outside of ourselves so we can take a harsh look at ourselves. Sometimes you got to remove yourself from yourself and take a look at yourself and see what you're doing and what you're not doing. Because a lot of times, listen to this narrative. If you are around people who are doing a little bit, sometimes you believe that you're doing a lot. And a lot of the times when you go around people who are doing a lot, you realize that you were never doing anything. Let me say that one more time. When you're the person that's around people that's not doing a lot, but you're doing a little, you'll fool yourself to believe that you're doing a lot when you're not really doing a lot. So now, when you go around people who are actually doing a lot, you realize that you were never doing anything. But you'll stay around people who aren't doing a lot, ultimately believing that you're doing a lot. And that's the problem. And this is what we constantly do, right? Is the war with oneself. But again, as I was talking to this particular guy, I said, listen, buddy, if you want to change your life, I'm going to come over to your house and I'm going to show you what you need to do. He said, bet. So as I got to his house, I told him, we're going to have a conversation, but I need you not to get uncomfortable. He said, I won't. Because uncomfortableness actually helps you grow, right? Uncomfortableness is the nurturing that we need to build the empires and the mentalities that we want to get to the next levels. So he said, I bet. So as I sat with him, I said, for number one, you're not in an economical situation to be driving a Mercedes. You have to get rid of this Mercedes. It's economically pulling you down because you don't understand that you're just spending so much on a liability that is not allowing you to elevate. So he said, okay, I can understand that. You're right. I said, because you can use the difference of the money to start investing so you could ultimately start positioning yourself better. But if you're spending $1,000 car note every single month, that's a lot of money on a car note unnecessarily, just because you want to look like you're somewhere you're not. Let me tell you, whoever on this live want to hear this the truth. A car don't make you rich. Cars only impress broke people. Liabilities only impress broke people. Clothes only impress broke people. Bags only impress broke people. Shoes only impress broke people. You behaving like you have money only impress broke people. Because rich don't behave like that. But now watch the narrative. So I said, I'm going to start telling you the things you need to do. Number one, get rid of that Mercedes. He said, you know what? You're right. I'm going to get rid of my Mercedes. So I said to him, wow, I was surprised that he took that conversation easy. So I said, now I'm going to tell you the second thing you need to do. He goes, all right, no problem. I said, you need to stop smoking. He said, what? I said, you need to stop smoking. Let's have this narrative. Let's talk about this conversation. Let's eliminate athletes, entertainers, celebrities, influencers, people who substantially make a lot of money. Let's make this the guy, the average Joe. He works a basic job, making about 45 to 50K a year, right? So let's pull out a calculator, somebody. Let's just say he smokes $100 a week in weed, right? That's $400 a month in weed. Somebody please do this number for me. What is 400 times 12? I'm asking you guys right now. What is 400 times 12? Right? Somebody answer this question. 400 times 12. $4,800 this man spends a year in marijuana. And now what makes it worse is his significant other also smokes. Both of them smoke together excessively. So let's just give him let's give him an $8,000 a year between him and his woman expenses of smoking. $8,000 a year in weed, right? So I told him, I said, you've taken hobby and made it a lifestyle, ultimately preventing you from getting to the next levels in life. Your lifestyle that you've taken on is actually hindering you, but you don't want to hear it. So he said, you know what, you're right. I'm not going to fight it. I do need to stop. And I told him, go into your Cash App. We went into this guy's Cash App. We looked at how much money every year he sent his weed dealer. Nowadays, they do Cash App for weed. I didn't even know that until he said, I said, damn. He showed me his Cash App. In 2 years, the same dealer he's dealing with, $7,800 in weed. $7,800. 2 years. $7,800 in 2 years. He's been spending on his weed. I said, damn. I said, you can't change your life like that. Right? Because I could have been buying Apple stock with that same money, ultimately put me in a better position. See, this dog got comfortable with what he was doing, thinking that he's actually progressing, but he isn't. You can regress or you can progress. In life, energy either go forward or it goes backwards. Either it goes forward or it goes backwards. In life, no one sits still. So in your mind, you think you're sitting still. When you say someone is not doing absolutely nothing, they're actually going backwards because they're losing time. So either you're moving forward or you're moving backwards. There's no sitting still, right? And that's what he couldn't understand. So I said, okay. He said, you know what? I'll take the weed thing. You're right. So I said, I'm gonna tell you something else. He goes, what? I said, bro, no disrespect. You live in your girl's family situation. You should be saving a lot of money, bro. Y'all live in a bad situation. Y'all should be saving together so y'all can progress. He goes, I said, may I ask you a question? He said, what? I said, how much money have you and your woman saved since y'all been together? 10 years they've been together. 10 years. They saved no money. No money. So look at this narrative. You're mad at your positioning. You smoke a ton of marijuana. You have a Mercedes. You're very materialistic, right? All your money, and then you have, you don't like to hear any truth. So watch the narrative. So I said, the last thing you need to do is going to make you very upset. He said, no, it's not. I said, bro, if I tell you this, you're going to be very upset. He said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to get upset. I stepped back from him and I said, yo, you need to get rid of the woman. He said, why is that? I'm going to tell you why. And I want you guys to hear this well. I'm going to give you a gem, guys, and I want y'all to hear this. The Bible, right? And I don't like to bring religion all in, but I am a Christian man. So I'm not going to deny what I believe in for somebody else. Right? I'm just not going to force my religious beliefs on no one else. But in my belief, the woman comes from the rib of a man, right? The man gives his rib or loses a rib to create a woman. The man that understands the premise of a man by pursuing purpose understands his mission and life goal is to find back his rib. When a man finds his rib, which is a woman in the Bible is quote unquote called the helpmate of a man, the helpmate. So when this man gets back his rib, he becomes full, he becomes whole, and he pursues purpose with his helpmate helping him build. But the fact of the matter is, the woman that he chose is not his helpmate. She is actually the hindering reason into why he's content with who he is. See, the Bible also speaks about being equally yoked. There are a lot of people who aren't equally yoked, therefore there's too much going on for all the wrong reasons. You can make yourself believe that you're doing so much when you're actually doing nothing. The old dogs are content in set in their ways because they're around people that are doing the same thing. We've seen you roll over for 20 years. We've heard you bark for 30 years. Now on your 41st year, you're comfortable in your own skin, not seeing that you're the old dog that need to do something new. Old dogs need to learn new tricks. But we're the old dogs that get comfortable, right? You're howling, you're barking, but there's no bite. There's no action. I'm gonna go crazy and I'm gonna tell you this. This is the thing I'm gonna tell you, and a lot of people don't like to hear this, right? But this is the truth, right? The Bible says, you have not because you ask not. That's what it says. But listen to this. Have not, but the Bible also says, faith without work is nothing, is dead. So that means by them saying you have not because you ask not is not by saying because you're not saying it with your mouth. You're confessing what you want with your mouth. But that's not what our God is saying. He is saying you have not because you're not putting in any work. Again, he says the faith without the work is actually nothing. But also he says you have not because you ask not. He's not saying acts with your mouth. He's saying acts with your actions. Actions have always spoke louder than words. But truly, we believe that I'm going to speak my success into existence. That's a harsh, false reality. Because he also says, without the work, there's nothing. But you believe you're going to be successful because you can speak it. I can say I want this, and I can say I want that. You sound like every kid on Christmas, waiting for the prize or the present from Santa Claus without putting in any work. Well, we can't do that. We can't do that. We can't lie to ourselves. And the problem is that's what we do. We're the old dogs set in our ways. We're comfortable, right? We're comfortable. See, you may be that old dog that need to get around some new energy, some new youth to remind you that it ain't over till it's time for you to go. You ain't dead, but you laid down and died. Ain't no more fighting you, right? You don't even protect your own home no more. That's the old dog. People know they can burglarize an old home, right? A dog with an old home, right? If I come to a house that has an old dog, I can burglarize that house because that old dog is not even gonna protect it. That old dog might give you one little roof and lay back down. And that's what we're doing with our lives. We're not pushing ourselves to be greater. We're lying to ourselves. We're comfortable with excuses, right? It's crazy when someone is so grown but yet and still so immature because they can't see how immature they are but behaving very immature. See, a maturity thing is not an age thing. It's an action. To be mature is an action, it's not words. 40-year-old don't mean you're mature. 50-year-old don't mean you're mature. Age is not the factor of maturity. It's the way you conduct and carry yourself, right? And this is what we don't understand. It's the premise. A lot of us don't see that we're the old dogs. We are the old dogs. Old dog, let me ask you, when was the last time you opened a book? Old dog, when was the last time you tried anything new? The scariest thing is having a conversation with someone who predicts what's going to happen when they take a risk before they even take the risk. They'll tell you the end results before they even do anything. That is the scariest person to be around. You telling me you're about to invest and you're going to lose before you even invest. I will be scared to be around you because you're allowing yourself to predict negativity. You got to push out positivity with your mouth, but also with your actions. But yet still will say, this is going to happen before we even take a risk. How do you know that? How are you clear when you predict in the future? Because if you can predict the future, that means we can make a lot of money off of you. You cannot be scared to take any chances and assume what will happen before you even take any chances. We always say what could be and what can't be, but we always talk about the negativity more than the positivity. Notice we spend more time on the problems than we spend on our solutions. All of our energy goes into our problems, but not our solutions. You'll call somebody's phone 45 minutes complaining about the problem, 2 seconds on the solution. And that's our premise. That's what we do. Then you wonder why there's never nothing coming positive. Nothing happens. Because all your energy is being spent to something that could, should, would. Come on. Life is not about predicting what could happen. Life is about making it happen. We're the old dogs. The old dogs that are set in their ways, right? And anytime you talk about progression, hear that conversation. You don't think you doing too much? I have people who have done absolutely nothing with their life tell me that I'm doing too much. And you know what I try to say in return? You don't think you're not doing enough? We sit here every day and understand that we are blessed to be above ground. It is a blessing, right? When God wakes you up and he gives you that phone call in the morning, right? Called the breath of life. The breath of life. For everybody that's on my live right now that's listening to this podcast, if you are happy that you got that phone call this morning, let me get an amen. 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 You know why I say that? Because I woke up this morning, right? I don't give a damn if I was mad or not mad. I woke up this morning because we say that happiness is a choice, but yet and still we choose to be unhappy. We say that happiness is a choice, but yet and still we choose to be unhappy. You complain about the circle of people you're around, but guess what? You keep going around the same circle. Life is not about going around the same circle. Life is about moving forward and progressing. So why are you in a circle? We run the figure eight, right? That figure eight. It's called the eternal ring, right? Figure eight, eternal ring. We do the same thing every day, but expect different results. Insanity. Insanity. A lot of us don't want to accept that we're insane. We got to break the circle. You're right. Right? How do you break the circle? People, places, and things. If your social climate don't change, your economical climate will never change. If you stay around the same energy, how do you progress the energy? How do you see more when you have no exposure? If the mind isn't exposed, it won't expand. As we say, the mind is like a rubber band. You got to stretch it beyond its reachabilities. You haven't even tried to stretch your mind. You haven't even opened up the book of life. You haven't even started taking chances. But you believe that you're the one who does the least are going to have the greatest results. What does that even make sense? What does that make sense? 1 + 1 ain't stop equaling 2 because of you. 1 + 1 ain't stop equaling, let me say that one more time. 1 + 1 hasn't stopped equaling 2 because of you. Math does not accommodate you. It's the laws of physics and the laws of average and the laws of numbers. You cannot change the numbers to accommodate your lazy behind. It is still 24 hours in a day. It is still 7 days in a week. It is 28 to 31 days in a month. It is 12 months in a year, right? And there's 60 minutes in an hour. There is nothing you can do to change that. The only thing you can do about that is what you do with that time. We undervalue our time. We don't take advantage of the moments, the seconds, the minutes. We look back and we don't see that we haven't moved forward. You're standing in the same position and wonder why you're getting the same results. You're standing in the same position waiting for the same results. But you assume that something magically gonna happen for you. You're that special. You're lying to yourself. The rule of anybody becoming successful is always telling themselves the truth. We don't tell ourselves the truth. We force ourselves to believe a lot of false things. Don't get me wrong, you can talk yourself into becoming your greatest self. This is truth, but you have to live in your reality. If you're being lazy, you gotta acknowledge it. For somebody on my live right now, tell me a flaw that's with you right now. Let's see how confident you are. I'll start. Sometimes I procrastinate. I will start. I'm the old dog that procrastinates. But today, I'm not procrastinating no more. I'm gonna wait for someone to tell me. Spiritual warfare, right? Let's see what somebody say right now. Give me a flaw. Give me something wrong with you today. I want to see somebody on my live. Tell me something that's wrong with them. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Right? Let's talk about it. You know, we don't want to accept that we have our issues. We all human, right? And I'm gonna give you a gem that my mentor taught me years ago. You don't have to be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but you have to be able to cut, right? Sometimes we look beyond and understand that the valedictorian is not always the most successful. It's the most disciplined, it's the most consistent, it's the ones who actually create a plan and execute their plans that actually get to becoming great. We think that we have to be the greatest, sharpest knife in the drawer, but that's not reality. Some of the most wisest people were not the most richest people. And that's the truth. Because they allow themselves to put themselves around people that actually make them that much better. If I know I'm not efficient at something, I need to put people around me that are efficient at it, so therefore I can become more greater at it. If not, utilize them to do it. That's what great people have done. We the old dogs, right? Someone said I get shot too much, right? Someone told me they put up with abuse. We're gonna talk about that. Someone said they being in a relationship too long, right? And you know the sad part about relationships that's too long? I mean let's look at this narrative. Watch this. This is the narrative of being in a relationship too long. You ever had that person come over your house and you try to hint that you want them to leave because they've been there for a while? And you say things like, yeah, I don't know what you about to do. I'm about to take it down. I'm getting tired. I'm getting sleepy. And they're not getting the message. So what they do is they stay and they keep taking advantage of you because you're not straightforward or direct. You didn't say, I'm ready for you to leave. I'm about to go to sleep. You said, hey, I'm about to take it down. I'm ready. What are you going to do? He said, I'm going to just chill. That person is overstaying their welcome because you're not being straightforward and direct. You got to say, I'm done. Yo, listen, I don't know where you're going, but bro, you got to leave. I'm about to go to sleep. Done. Sometimes it's the unwillingness to tell the truth. It's the uncomfortable conversations we got to have. I think someone needs to look in the mirror today and have this conversation with themselves. I'm the old dog, and I want to learn new tricks. For everybody on my live today, let me write that. If you are the old dog that want to learn some new tricks, raise your hand. I'm the old dog that want to do some new things, right? I am, right? I don't want you to pet me and say you're cute anymore. I want you to say that dog work hard, right? Right? This is what we do. We allow ourselves to get content and comfortable. Then we speak on the people that force themselves to become great. I'm gonna tell you something. You could force yourself to believe the most prominent things, ultimately making it your reality. But you could also make yourself believe the most foolish things, also making it your reality. So the mind can be programmed the way you want to program it. You can make yourself believe that you work harder when you really don't. You can make yourself believe that even when you're working hard, you're not working hard enough. So it makes you work what? Even harder. This is what we do. We're the old dogs, right? Somebody need to bark. Someone needs to learn how to start protecting their boundaries again, right? Because isn't that what a dog is for? Is protection. You got to set your boundaries and protect your boundaries. A lot of us have allowed people to intrude on our homes too long. We never blocked them. We never stopped them. We allowed it. And then we complain about the things that we've allowed. We've allowed it. Because people in life only going to do what you allow them to do to you. People only treat you the way you want to be treated. And you can say you don't want to be treated like that, but yet and still you accept it. So that's how you want to be treated. Because if a person knew that you was not going for that, they would never treat you like that. But they do because they know you accept it. And that's a harsh reality. We also worried about the outside, the projection outside, but we don't work on our internal. It's like having a beautiful home with nothing inside of it. And that's how we look on the outside. We work on the outside, right? The gym, right? That's a beautiful thing. But what about the internal? What about our mentalities, right? We don't work on those things. A lot of us haven't even opened a book. They say if you want to hide knowledge, then put it in a book. And when was the last time you opened a book? A lot of great stories are in books, right? A lot of great knowledge are in books, But a lot of us don't want to open our minds to these books, right? We get so caught up in all the things that we cannot change and the things we know we can change, but we don't work hard to change the things we can change. I can change me from being lazy, right? I can change myself from making excuses. I can change myself for working harder. I can change myself to being consistent. I can change myself to sacrificing. I can change myself to be around a new environment of people who are working hard and pushing me to work harder. I can change a lot of things that I'm not giving the knowledge and saying the truth to myself. I've told myself 100 lies, right? Of course, I'm the big dog in a small park. A lot of us are comfortable being those big dogs in those small areas. We have allowed it. We stayed in these environments too long because you feel like somebody. I'm gonna tell you something, this is a secret. But a loser won't know they're losing when they're around losers because losers act like losers, ultimately doing what losers are doing, losing the same way. I'm gonna say that one more time. A loser will behave like a loser, doing what losers do, consistently behaving like a loser, never noticing or seeing that they're doing what losers are doing, ultimately losing, but thinking yet and still they're gonna win. That is impossible. But he said, that's blasphemy. That's blasphemy. We gotta be honest, right? Old dogs get comfortable, right? Look at the environment that you told yourself that's not bad. I had a friend of mine, right? I showed him statistics. And a lot of the times I truly believe that a lot of parents don't overly indulge on environment, right? And this is the narrative. Product in your environment can be every bit of true. And a lot of the times, people that stay in better areas or better situations do things to keep themselves stuck there. Meaning, Jordans, the clothes, the shoes, they materialize their life in a bad environment, making themselves believe that as long as I look good here, I'm good. See, here's the analogy or the truth. If you take a dirty person and you put clean clothes on them, that's just a dirty person with clean clothes. If you take a broke person and you put expensive clothes on them, that's just a broke person with expensive clothes on them. They're still broke. But sometimes I truly believe that we believe we play dress up. We hide our truths, right? But the sad part is when you walk back in your home every day, you still can't see your truth. We've accepted it. We have to learn how to behave like the successful. I told a guy today, he said, so how do we change that? Let's just use a language. Give me a language. Somebody say a language right now. Let's say the second French. Let's say success speaks French, right? And broke speaks English, right? If you walked in a room, and we're being honest, if you walked into a room and you don't speak no French and everybody's speaking French, in most cases, most people will get very uncomfortable, right? But French is the language of the successful. Remember I said English is the language of the broke. What happens is we automatically walk away from that room because we were too uncomfortable. An unsuccessful person will stay in that room. You know what they'll do? They'll learn the language that's in the room, ultimately applying the language to their life, becoming the language of the successful. We choose to do the opposite because we get a little too uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. And comfortable is normal for anybody pursuing their greater selves. It comes with the territory. It's impossible to do otherwise. But we believe that we're the exception to the rule. The rule was set before you even touch earth, that a lazy person won't get far, right? They say, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, build a team. But people still believe they're going to get far by themselves. They will get somewhere fast, but it will never retain and sustain because you need a team. We go around the worst people in life and we expect the greatest results. That's a sick mentality. It's sick. We've allowed ourselves to believe this. We indoctrinated our minds into this culture to the point where the culture has accepted this as a reality. I could do everything wrong, but I'm gonna still be great. I could be lazy, but I could still win. I could never get out my bed, but I'm gonna be rich. I could lie about my truth, but my lie is truth. It's a lot of false pretense these old dogs have created. Old dog, you need to talk to yourself, right? Tell yourself the truth. I'm caught up in the web of my lies, right? I'm stuck, right? I can't move anymore because all I did was create lies. It's the old dog mentality. The old dog mentality, right? Your bark is not even sounding vicious anymore. Your bark isn't even sounding vicious anymore. We don't fear your bark anymore because we know you're an old dog. And all you're gonna do is talk about what you're gonna do. Ultimately, guess what? Doing absolutely nothing. That's what people see. When they look in your yard, they see that old dog that's just gonna bark and ain't gonna do nothing. You're gonna bark about the things you want. You're gonna bark about the success you wanna see. You're gonna bark about the people that's in the way from you getting there. You're gonna bark about everything other than what you're not doing. Because it's easy to point the finger, but it's hard to accept when the fingers are pointed back at you. Because it's easy to accept failure. Because you'll give yourself every accommodation for why you're failing. But you won't see that you have 10 toes, 10 fingers, able in mind, you have a full body. Yet still, you don't want to challenge yourself because it's going to make you a little too uncomfortable. That's the old dogs. To all my old dogs on this live and on this podcast, you have to understand it's not okay being comfortable. Comfortability is the devil. And I say this again. Comfortability is what losers look for. They look for everything that is so easy, right? You don't even want to work for your meals no more, right? So I tell you something. One of the guys, I help people out a lot, but it's disheartening when you help someone and they take advantage of it. Rather than take advantage of the situation, they take advantage of you. I've always was taught that if someone help you, don't take advantage of them. Take advantage of the situation. So look at the narrative. 2 types of people. One person, yo, Q, I need somewhere to live. You allow them to move in your house, tell them don't give you no rent, save your money, and you could ultimately get your own place. But nowadays, people will do this. They'll move into your place. You tell them don't give you no rent. And they'll literally blow all the money. And then when you start asking for rent, they never have no money to show. This is how a lot of people are. When things are too easy, they don't see that, oh, maybe the person is helping me. They don't look at it from that narrative. They look at it from like it's too easy. You're the dog that was always used to having your meal made for you every day. Now, if the owner lets you off into the wilderness, what happens? You fail because you've never learned how to get your own food. You never learned how to fend for yourself. You never knew how to fight for your own. And I'm going to say this, guys. Listen to this good, right? This is a story, right? There was once a mother bird, and she went into labor. And when she went into labor, the crows decided to attack her. She ended up having the baby successfully, but the crows ended up killing the mother eagle. So one day, the crow, let me say this again. I want to get this one. I want to get this good, guys. I want y'all to really listen to this story. One day, there was a mother eagle. The mother eagle went into labor. She gave birth. The crows that was down in another nest saw her and said this would be the perfect time to attack her. The mother eagle gave birth, successfully having the baby. The crows attacked her and ultimately killed her. But the crow mom decided to take the baby eagle and bring it to her nest, ultimately raising the baby eagle as if it was her own. So one day, the mother crow started realizing that this eagle was very special, but she didn't want him to know or her to know that she or he was special. So the other siblings saw that the mother crow always treated the baby eagle better. So one day, the mother crow leaves to go get food. And when she leaves to go get food, the crows decide to attack the baby eagle. So as the crows attacked the baby eagle, one of the crows bit the baby eagle on his neck. And when it bit him on the neck, the eagle shot to the sky. The eagle shot so high that the crow was holding on to the eagle's neck, passed out because it couldn't stay at that altitude and fell all the way back down to the sky, from the sky to earth. Then the eagle got so nervous because he thought the other crows was chasing him. The other crows flew all the way to the highest altitude, and the eagle just kept going up and up and up and up and up, ultimately stopping. When the eagle stopped, it looked down and saw how far of a distance between the crow and the eagles were. And the eagle realized, like, why are they not coming up here? And when the eagle said to itself, like, wait, they can't come up here. The eagle at that moment realized that it was something special and they couldn't compete with him, right? Then the eagle decided to look to his left and it looked to his right. And guess what it saw? It saw other eagles. So what I'm getting at is some of us are eagles, but yet and still we stay around crows, ultimately behaving like crows, not realizing how great and successful we can become. We get comfortable. We get content. We get set in our ways. We're the old dogs. So someone on this live today is an eagle, but you need to realize that you hang out with too many crows. Flying alone is nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with flying alone. So when that eagle looks around now, the only people that can fly at his altitude is other eagles. But we look for everything that accommodates our beliefs and our behaviors, not realizing that we could be that eagle. There's a reason why your mind is always thinking of something great. There's a reason why your mind is always wanting more. There's a reason why you dream about success. There's a reason why you're not fitting in with the people you're around no more. There's a reason. Because you may be that baby eagle that stayed around crows so long that you think that you're a crow. And that's a lot of people. They don't realize that they're greater than what they truly believe they are. And anytime you try to talk about how great you become, people around you will project. They project how they feel on them, about themselves on you. You say, I want to be rich. They'll say, that ain't going to happen. It's called projecting. It's not that it ain't going to happen. It's that they don't want to see it happen. So sometimes when you think people praying for you, they're actually praying against you. You have to be conscious of who you're having conversations with. You got to be conscious of the environments you go into. You got to be conscious of the things you're doing. Because you don't want to see yourself being that old dog content and set in your own ways. old dog that's set in its own ways. Again, all bark but no bite. We all know those dogs. We all know those dogs. But it's a harsh reality that we don't want to accept. I don't want to be that old dog that's doing nothing new. I want to be that old dog that say, you know what? I'm going to learn crypto, right? I'm going to learn the stock market, right? I'm going to learn what real estate is. I'm going to learn how to invest. I'm going to learn how to position myself. I'm going to learn everything that maybe the people that came before me and my family didn't know. I'm going to learn it. I'm going to learn it. Because you cannot use that as an excuse to why you fail. What your mother wasn't don't mean necessarily you have to be. Your mother could have not done anything with her life, but yet and still you cannot use that as an excuse to fail. A lot of people will say stuff like, I didn't have financial literacy. No one for the most part was taught financial literacy unless they come from very significant families. If you come from a broken home or a home that has a lot of trauma and drama, chances are you didn't know anything about financial literacy. Because most of the people in your family are financially illiterate. How is someone going to teach you the French language that we said we have to go into rooms when they don't even speak the language themselves? How? How is someone going to teach you how to save when they've never saved a dollar themselves? How is someone going to tell you to invest when they've never invested themselves? How is someone going to tell you that you're going to outgrow the neighborhood when you never worked harder to do it? We have to expose each other to these things to understand that it's feasible and it's possible. Nothing is possible if you don't believe it's possible. The word itself, possible, says, I'm possible. That's how you spell impossible. I'm possible. You got to stop saying impossible and say, I'm possible. I'm possible. It's a reality. I don't believe that I can't do anymore. I believe I have to learn how to navigate to spaces that allow me to grow to become the greater person I want to become. We want to get into certain financial climates when very few can get to these altitudes, right? But we believe that everyone wants to get there. We pull dead weight. We pull dead weight. It is hard for you to chase and run your race when you're pulling dead bodies. You're pulling a dead body. They say you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make him drink. Someone on here tell me today, right now, right? Let's all give something today we're going to change about ourselves so we can work on becoming our better selves. One thing I tell you honestly, and this is me being honest to myself, I have a thing about procrastination. I procrastinate a lot. I drag things to the last minute and then ultimately rush myself to get it done, which is unhealthy. I do sometimes create my best work, but I got to stop doing this because it's repetition. Repetition is creating patterns that are not good, right? They say if you keep doing something over and over and over and over and over, it becomes your natural character. And that's what it is. I got to break the mold. I can't keep saying, yo, because I'm a procrastinator, I'm going to normalize it and say that's just me. No, I'm going to work on myself. You know what I'm going to do? When I think of it, I'm going to do it right then and then. I'm not going to delay the things today that I should be doing today, talking about there's a tomorrow when no one knows if they're promised tomorrow. We're not promised tomorrow, but we believe that we can put things off for tomorrow, not handling it today. Let's work on our todays. Stop talking about tomorrow, right? Right, and that's what it is. I procrastinate a lot too. Time to change. It is time to change. Let's change it. But we got to change ourselves. We got to stop fighting our realities and living our realities. Most people will never become their greater selves by not pushing themselves to be them greater selves. I've noticed there are a lot of people who do the bare minimum, but they expect so much, right? And it frustrates me because you know the end results of the story while it's being written. It's sad as a person, we could predict your story as it's being written because there's no fight and there's no bark in the dog anymore. There's no more. You lay down and you're dying and you're not fighting when the world is biting you. There's a story a guy asked me, and I don't know about how you guys feel about that, right? He said, if your son my son is 20 years old. He said, if your son jumped into a cage with a lion and the lion starts biting him, what would you do? I said, honestly? He said, yeah. I said, I will see what he do first. And he looked at me and said, what? I said, I will see what he do first. And he said, what do you mean? Because if you're not willing to fight for yourself, what do I look like fighting for you? And what I'm getting at is a lot of people here want people to fight for them when they're not willing to fight for themselves. At that moment, I told him, I said, you're the one that's in the cage getting bit, not me. You're the one getting attacked by the lion, not me. So if I'm willing to risk my life, I gotta know that you're gonna fight with me. Because I'd rather us die together fighting than me fighting by myself when it could have been the two of us would have had a better chance. And that's a harsh reality. He said, that's harsh. I said, no, it's not. Sometimes you can't fight for people that's not willing to fight for themselves. We do defend the weak, but that's not a weak situation. That is a conscious choice of not fighting, right? A lot of us have laid down and died. We're withering out. We're the flower that only needs some more water and some more sunlight. We're the flower that needs only some more water and some more sunlight. And some attention. That's all we need. We avoid that, thinking that something dramatically is gonna just happen. Guys, life don't happen by chance. Life happens by decisions. Someone on this live need to accept that this is a reality. Stop lying to yourself. Stop being the old dog that's accepting failure and not telling yourself that I'm the reason why I'm failing. Everything starts with inside. How you look at life is how you carry yourself. Today, I was talking to a woman and she said to me, it's weird because I keep attracting loser men. I said, if I say something to you, you're gonna be upset. She said, no, say it. I said, maybe you have a loser magnet attached to you. I said, maybe the energy that you're giving off is loser energy. It ultimately makes people feel like you are the type of person that's looking to help people. People that have that kind of mentality always look for people that are willing to always help them so they can attach themselves and leech off of them. They make it seem like they need help, but in reality, it's not help that they're looking for. They're looking for an easy situation. Once they know that you have a big heart or you're very kind, they take advantage. So I told her, I said, maybe you need to change your mentality. What? It's not me. It's their fault that they don't want to work and they're lazy. I said, no, it's your fault that you allow them to be lazy and live off of you. I said, stop always looking out the outside and start looking to the inside. What is it that I'm doing that's making people feel they can do this to me? That is the dopest conversation that anyone could have. Because you can fix that once you start telling yourself the truth. Maybe when people violate, I don't put my foot down fast enough, right? Maybe I'm too willing to accept people walking over me, right? Maybe I don't expect too much in the beginning that I settle for and then I complain about it later, right? Maybe it's the things that I'm doing that's showing people that I'm a pushover, right? These are the conversations we could have with self. Because life is 100% about self-development. We got to develop ourselves. We got to stop being the old dogs. We want to learn new tricks. Let's get out of our feelings and start understanding that old dogs will never learn new tricks unless the old dog is willing to get up and bark again. Not only bark, but they'll chase you and bite you if you have to. You got to chase your success and bite it when you get close enough to it. Old dog. Chase your success and bite it when you get close enough to it. Stop being the excuse for the excuses ultimately become you. You keep making excuses, you become the excuse. You keep telling yourself you're failing because of the world, you ultimately see it's really because of you. But again, we love to do this. We don't love to do this. Let's stop doing this. Let's start doing this. Internal. I'm the old dog. And I tell myself with a pledge, I will no longer lay down and not fight for what I want. I will no longer give myself an excuse to fail. I will no longer lie to myself. I will no longer go around people that don't help me or benefit me or try to push me to become my greater self. I will no longer do the things that don't matter, ultimately getting the results of the things because they never mattered. I will no longer not push myself by telling myself I'm doing a lot when I know I'm not doing a lot. Let's do more. But as somebody on my life that's inspiring to go back to school, go back to school. But it's taking you so long. The best thing about school is you don't have to take up but so many classes. Start with one class and see how it goes. For that person that wants that trade, go back and get that trade. Old dog. Stop barking. Start fighting. No more laying down waiting for things to happen. We ain't the old dogs that's gonna settle for this no more. We the old dogs that's gonna fight for what we believe. So, old dog, I suggest you bark and go get what's rightfully yours. Till next time, guys. Don't let that go over your head.